Hey, hey, welcome in. Let the good vibes all begin. Something good is about to happen. Sure. I've been waiting on you. Got a seat with your name. Started with a coffee chat. Now we about to change the game. You got a story worth telling, and I got a room full of ears. So drop whatever you've been holding. Get ready because your time is here. Because when real people talk to real people, something shifts. When real stories meet real listeners, something lifts. Every Saturday we show up and we bring our best. Show up to Carrie Connects and leave it best. Show up, show up. Something is happening here. Carrie Connects, Carrie Connects. This is your moment, come near. Where every story intersects and every heart connects. From a coffee chat to the main stage, just bring who you are. Carrie Connects, Carrie Connects. Connection is the style. Carrie Connects. Entrepreneurs, voices, friends, where inspiration never ends. You did not come this far just to sit in the back. Everything you are through, we're getting you ready for that. So step into the light. Let somebody see your face, because the right conversation can change everything in this place. When real people talk to real people, something shifts. And real stories meet real listeners, something lifts. Every Saturday we show up and we bring our best. Show up to Carrie Connects and leave it bright. Show up, show up. Something is happening here. Carrie Connects, Carrie Connects. This is your moment, come near. Where every story intersects and every heart connects. Over coffee chat to the main stage, just bring who you are. Carrie Connects, Carrie Connects. Connection is the style. We started over coffee just to see if it was real. Yeah, you opened up and showed me everything you feel. Now the world is watching and they say the very best chance. Carrie Connects is where somebody finally cares. Show up, something is happening here. Carrie Connects, Carrie Connects. Listen, you know it, come near. Every story intersects and every heart connects. From the coffee chat to the main stage, just be who you are. Carrie Connects. Real conversations, real connections. This is Carrie Connects. Show up.
All right, welcome, welcome, welcome. I am super excited for another amazing edition of Carrie Connects. This is a special blue and white edition with my special honored guest, Mr. Antoinne Dwayne Jones. And so I'm going to allow him to introduce himself. You all continue to drop your comments. Just a friendly reminder, we can only see the comments on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. So you want to be on one of those platforms watching the show. If you are on Instagram, we will definitely make sure that we continue to engage with you. We are checking all types of screens, so pardon us for looking sideways and looking forward. But I am happy to have my guest here today. So Antoinne, tell us who you are, what you do, and tell us all of it, because I do know there's a lot more to you than just a camera. So get into it.
Well, first and foremost, I'm convinced that I gotta get me a theme song now, bro. Like I'm like, hey, I'm in there jamming like, yo, I was on that thing in the background, like, yo, this is. Look, Julius, Eden, Y'all got to get me right now. I need my theme song by like Thursday now. But seriously, Antoinne Dwayne Jones. I'm a member of Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated. I'm known as a photographer first and foremost, but I'm a dad. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I have a Greek magazine, Greek award show. I am all for all things social action. So voter rights, civil rights, mental health, men's health, fatherhood, you name it. I do it. So, I mean, I'm just a helper person. So just being in that particular vein is what I love to do.
And I love that you talked about being a father, being a helper, and of course, being a member of my constitutionally bound fraternity, Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated. I am extremely excited about being a member of your sister organization, Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated. And so we're just going to continue to have this conversation. But you mentioned family and you mentioned being a dad. And so I do want to take the time to say hello to a few people who are in the audience. I know that this person saying hi is Josette. Josette, we got to figure out how to get your name together. And I believe Josette is in Texas saying hello. And yes, you did make it on time. We have Miss Therese Lang checking in from the ATL metro area. And then my good friend who's at every single show that I do, Layla Balaba's checking in from Vancouver, Canada. And some other people, but I want to make sure that we use this time wisely. Hey, Noni, so happy you are here. This is my musical buddy. And so I'm just excited that people are plugging in. We even have people over on Instagram, Flash Photography. Hey, Frat, I see is over there.
What's up, Jeff?
All right, so we have Jeff in the building as well. But you all make sure that you share this post because that's what this is about. Carrie Connects is a show about building community. And so if you are watching us, share and invite your platform to be a part of the conversation. So I heard you say that you're more than just a photographer, Frat. You picked up your first professional camera in 2005. What was that conversation like with your mom and your then girlfriend?
Well, so my then girlfriend, who was my ex-wife, who was also a soror. So it went like this. I mean, when I was in high school, because I'm from the Midwest, so I'm from Youngstown, Ohio, and it's a different kind of place. So I went to college in North Carolina, sight unseen, and it was such a different, the Midwest to North Carolina is such a different environment that I always had. I'm telling my age right now, but I always had those little Walmart those little cameras. And I was taking pictures all the time, just taking pictures of everything. So I just had pictures everywhere all the time. I always had one of those little $5 Walmart clickers. And then I transferred to Fayetteville State. And ultimately, that's where I met my girlfriend at the time. And she said, you used to always talk about taking pictures. You never take no pictures of me. And I was like, man, whatever. Whatever. I ain't really tripping on it like that. I took photography class in high school. And then when I got to college, I was taking pictures all the time. And then when I transferred, I kind of let it go. So about a week later, I took some pictures for her. And she's like, you need to do this for real. And I was like, yeah, whatever. And then maybe a week after that, I showed my mom some pictures. And my mom was like, well, baby, you should do this for real. So I took that as my affirmation and my confirmation. I went out and bought the most expensive camera at the time. And, 21 years later, here we are. So that's really how it started. It was kind of like a nag. It was like, oh, you never take pictures of me. And I just did it. And here we are.
Right, and I love that you say it started off as a nag, that universal alignment, and people have to understand it can come in ways that we feel are positive, it can come in ways that we feel are negative, but I love that you listened to both of them and made sure that you allowed that part of your life to blossom. Now,
Right.
you talked about this relocation. Now, I did the same thing. I'm not going to name all the places I live because the show is about you, but I
Right.
did live in the Midwest, born and raised in Chicago, and moved at one point to North Carolina. And you are right, it is completely different type of living. Now, I know you moved from North Carolina, I believe, to Atlanta, but when you left to go to Atlanta, you said that that was like one of the hardest seasons of your life. But
Right.
within your first year, you were voted the city's hottest photographer. So
Yeah.
congratulations. Tell me what that was about, where most people would have been going through challenges and stopped. You continued and even got awarded.
Well, so the thing was, like, I had a plan. So since I had started off college in Charlotte and I ended up in Fayetteville, North Carolina for college, I was debating, like, okay, I felt that I hit my ceiling in photography in Fayetteville. So I was debating whether I was going to move to Charlotte or move to Atlanta. And I ultimately decided that Charlotte would have been kind of a lateral move because I was still there all the time. Matter of fact, and Charlotte was 3 hours away, and I was still there a couple of days a week. So people still thought I lived there because I was there all the time. But I thought it would have been a lateral move. So I started going to Atlanta like once a quarter for a year and just get in contact. My sister was living here at the time. So I was getting in contact. I was popping up at fashion shows. I was doing this. I was meeting people. So when I finally moved, it wasn't like I was unknown, but I didn't have any cliques, or I wasn't in any particular groups yet, but people did kind of start knowing me. So when I came in, I came in heavy, and I do got to contribute. Now this is blue and white, so man, I do have to contribute like a good majority of my success to two people, and now they're both actually sorors. So Selena Johnson, we know, Grammy nominated, amazing singer, and then Stephanie Davis, who was is and was the owner of Empower Magazine. So what happened was I linked up with Stephanie, but before I came down here, every week I would DM Selena like, yo, Selena, I'm the dopest photographer on the next thing since sliced bread. I'm moving to Atlanta. You got to check me out. And I think I started out about 6 months out, and she didn't even look at the doggone messages, the DMs probably for like 4 months. But I DM'd her once a week for like 6 months. And then finally she looked at it, and then she didn't say nothing. Then she looked at it again. Then she didn't say nothing. And then finally she was like, hey, Frat, I'm going to link you up with my assistant, who is also soror. And we're going to link. And I was like, okay, I'm going to link her with Stephanie, who was the magazine person. And that's how I ultimately became a celebrity photographer, because I was just DMing people like, yo, I'm going to be here. I'm going to do it. And it was a soror that actually gave me the position, and then another soror who had me in position. So that's kind of how I got to where I am today. So I wouldn't be who I was without Blue and White in Atlanta, because they really actually helped me get to where I am.
And I absolutely love that, because Greek letter organizations sometimes get some flack from people who don't really understand the organizations.
Right.
But I love that it's all about building community, and that we have sorors who are celebrities, but who were willing and able to position you so that you can really continue to manifest your best life possible. And I love, love, love that. I might have to move down to ATL, listen, or Texas. I'm still trying to decide. My son talked about it yesterday, moving to Vegas. I'm like, child, I don't know.
That's a little bit too hot, but for me. But yeah, I've been to Vegas. I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah, it is. I lived there for 14 years, so I love that in Atlanta you were able to really plant your foot and get some things off the ground. So when you founded Majority Greek magazine, is that something that you founded when you were in Atlanta? Because I know that's the only publication that is dedicated exclusively to fraternities and sororities of the Divine Nine. So what kind of gap were you trying to fill, and how come nobody else had thought about this?
So that's and again, I'm not patting myself on the back, but again,
you have to. In
order to bring some seriousness to this magazine, Greek letter organizations, or Black Greek letter organizations, have been around over 100 years, and there's 9 of them, right?
Yeah.
So, 1906 to 1963, like there 9 organizations were created, and 100 years later, we're still in the midst of that growth. So there's doctors, lawyers, judges, NASA people, vice presidents of the United States, astrophysicists, and all these type of people. Yet in 2019, I was the only person to ever say, hey, you know what? We need to create a essence style, like lifestyle and fashion magazine that content would be just for us. So it's never ever been in existence until I created it in 2019. And again, I kind of created it because I saw the gap. There's so many chapters. There's probably 30, 40, 50,000 Greeks just in the Atlanta metro area. So there wasn't need there. There was no magazine for us. There was no anything. It's just a whole bunch of Greeks. And I was already shooting for Stephanie's magazine and shooting for PR firms and brand managers and all that. And you talk to these people, and they might be famous or semi-famous. And you're like, oh, you're a Sigma. Oh, well, I'm an Alpha. I'm an AKA. And so it was like, well, wow, it made sense. Like half the time I was doing double duty, because if I was shooting for another magazine, I could also shoot for mine. or I would meet a client, or the PR people would have clients that were Greeks. And it's like, well, damn, you don't realize just how many Greeks there really, really are until you start asking questions. And I felt that was a need, and a specific need, because we have like a watch the yard, which is technical. You know, this person did this. And then we have like Greek shenanigans. It's like, it's the funny part, or the goofy part, the silly part. So majority Greek is like right in the middle of that, where it's like, okay, Carrie is a member of Zeta Phi Beta, but she is a host. She is this, she is that. And that's where I wanted to get to the people, because, you know, for various reasons, it's a passive recruitment tool. It gives people flowers, you know, and it gives people that maybe have fell off of the organization the opportunity to see that what we're doing and come back in. So it's like a threefold ministry, just in this magazine alone, right?
I love that, having a magazine that's a ministry, so that people who are doing things in the community who may not be celebrities can also get that recognition. Because I think the reality is that in our own worlds, we are all celebrities, right? In our own spaces, where we have the people that we are around, the people that know us. And so I love that you did that and filled that space that nobody else was filling. And in terms of Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity, I know that you served for 4 years, leading Sigma Fathers,
Right.
where you were building this programming around fatherhood, emotional health, healing for Black men and their children. And this is Mental Health Awareness Month. And next month, you reminded me, is Men's Health Awareness Month. So what do you think that Black fathers need that a lot of these programs miss? It seems like you fill the gap in a lot of spaces.
I think that Black men just need the opportunity to, I mean, really, we just need to follow the blueprint of what y'all doing. Really, I mean, honestly, and that's hard for us. As like I said, Sigma Fathers was created through the administration before this one. So Chris Ray's administration, he asked me to lead, you know, Sigma Fathers, and I would just gather and create resources for fathers, and then that spread out to Black men as a whole, because I just have a passion for Black men, because, you know, I've been a single dad, I've been a girl dad, a boy dad, a married dad, divorced dad. So it helped me be able to navigate through that, being the international chairman of that, because I have been through all those spaces, right? So we find that, you know, mental health is a thing for Black men. Joblessness, you know, abandonment issues, child support issues, custody issues. So all those are important things for men to see. And the only way a lot of times that men get it or start being active in that particular vein is if they see another man doing it. Like, so if I created a brunch called Brothers Do Brunch within, you know, Sigma Father. So once a year or twice a year, we would have a men's brunch where all of us come in, be like barbershop talk. Like, we had the barber chairs in the front, so the 4 or 5 panelists would sit in the barber chairs, and the audience would kind of listen to them and then ask questions. And you just find out that, you know, mental health is a thing, you know. But if you open up, like, I literally be on stage talking into a microphone, and I would say, yeah, man, it's been a time where for 4 years I didn't see my daughter at all. And then I went through this mental health program. I suffer with depression, and then you would see the light bulbs going off like fireworks, and men's like, wow, you know what, bro? Like, I struggle with this and I struggle with that, because we don't particularly foster community like Black women do. So when Black men get the opportunity and they feel safe, or I just heard it from, I literally just left a men's mental health fashion show. And I'm gonna change that word. And right now, in the therapist or the psychologist that came out said, men don't need a safe place; they need a sacred place.
Ooh.
So I was like, fingers, I can't put my phone up, but having the opportunity to feel sacred, to know that whatever I'm going through, whatever I'm feeling, you know, it's sacred. I'm not gonna get judged for it. You know, you're gonna help me with it, or you're gonna just be my confidant in those particular spaces. That's what men need. And again, we see y'all doing it, so we're getting better. And that taboo thing of therapy and all that isn't as bad anymore, where people just are fearful of therapy, because that was it for a long time, you know, especially in the Black community. You pray about it, Jesus got you, and it's just magic, like Jesus is magic, you know, like, oh my God, just snap your fingers 3 times and click your heels together, and Jesus is gonna fix your mental health issues, when in fact God put people that went to school for all these years and to get all these degrees, which we debate about whether they honorary or not honorary or real or not real, you know what I'm saying? But nevertheless, all these people went through all this training to be able to help you navigate through your mind. That why we're not smart enough to use that instead of we just thinking we're gonna pray about it and we just gonna naturally be healed like it's some kind of osmosis or magic. So yeah, that's fatherhood in general.
So I love that you talk about mirroring areas where you see success, in particular areas with black women. I know in my circle, we look to see what the men are doing because we look for that leadership
Yeah.
in a sense. And so I like the idea of the partnership of men and women coming together to find out what each other needs, what are we doing that works well, how can we support each other. Know that I am in your corner. Anything that I can do to be of support, I'm more than happy to do. But
Right.
I want to stay in the same conversation, but switch gears a little bit because I also know that you co-host the Opinionated Podcast with Coco Brown. And
Right.
so how did that partnership come about and what do you all do in that space? You know, most conversations between a black man and a black woman, usually, sometimes they'll happen in private. But what do
Right.
you think that that platform offers publicly?
So, and we're still working. We're still working on the kinks with that because our schedules are so dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but even when we got together for the couple of times, it's really like doing a podcast or a show with a comedian. Like I told her, I was like, man, don't get us canceled. I was like, you're a comedian, you can say whatever you want to, but I can't. But like, don't get us canceled. She's like, don't worry about it. She's like, I like the alphabet people and like this. And I was like, yeah, but you can afford to.
Right.
You've been on TV. You got royalty checks, Kevin. You can afford to get canceled. I can't. But but we really have like a brother or sister type relationship because she's doing a lot of micro. So y'all got to check out Coco Brown on all your social media platforms. That's Big Sis. I jumped on one of her micro dramas like a week ago, and that joint went viral. It was crazy. I was like, oh Lord. But I talked about like my most recent relationship. But I think being able to have a conversation with somebody you cool with that you could just talk about anything,
Mm-hmm.
and you get a perspective from a little bit older black woman, a little bit younger black man, but neither one of us are young. Like, I mean, I'm 48. She might be a little bit older than me, but you get all these different perspectives because we've lived life and we lived it, entertainment space, make money, lose money, get it back, try again, single parenthood. Like we both kind of experienced so much that when we just sat down and just start talking junk, it turns into real relatable content, and that's all I want to do. I have strong opinions, but I I I think logically, so I can be in the gray or the black and white. I can see both perspectives, and that works well for me as far as helping other people. It might not work well for me when it comes down to being in a relationship or relationships, because if I see any angle and you only see your angle, then sometimes I feel like I'm not getting the credit for my feelings, but I can always see where other people are coming from. That's been one of the gifts I've had, my whole life. Is like I can see whatever, and I think logically. So it has to make logical sense for me.
Mm-hmm.
I can help people and guide people and talk to people in any kind of way. And then she's like black and white too. So it's like we just have a great dynamic. It's really, really cool because we can add humor in there. We got seriousness, but we always find a topic that is relatable, and then we just go from there.
And I love that. I've been checking out her platforms on Instagram, on Facebook. And one of the things when I engage with people is to make sure that people know you're there. So if you're watching, you want to make sure that you're leaving comments. You want people to know that you're actually in the building, because just like you got into Selena Johnson's DMs and reached out to our soror, and she was able to reach back out to you. If you all are watching any type of show, don't think of this like television. This is active engagement where you can get into those comments and have conversations, and you never know what might come of that conversation. Speaking of conversations, one of the things that you do really well is you run these political education programs. And I know that you bring elected officials into real conversations within the Black community.
Right.
And right now, voting rights are under a lot of pressure.
Right.
And Black history is being removed from classrooms and curriculums. I was a public school teacher for 20 years. And so I know the importance of that, even just being a Black American, a Black woman. It's really important. Why do you feel like it's more urgent now than it ever has been before?
But I don't know if ever has been before, but I think that if you close your eyes And if you close your eyes and think, well, based upon the political environment, the work environment, the racial environment, what year are we in? We wouldn't say 2026. We would say like 1970, like right now, going backwards. Like so we in about 1970 right now. So we kind of like civil rights 2.0. Like so if we go back any further, then we're gonna be pre voting rights, so it's a sense of urgency, or should be a sense of urgency for all people of color and all women, because again, the voting rights and civil rights affected those two parties, mainly minorities and women. We really need to really be considering that when we're passing laws, we're voting people in offices and all that. So what I decided to do was, not that I don't think people aren't voting because they don't want to vote. I think people are voting because they're uneducated. And it's not that the people are not smart, is that people either don't remember or never were taught like the simple things like what's the difference between your county commissioner and the senator and the house rep, and what are the duties of a mayor. So what I started doing was getting with elected officials. Like I'm going to get with Sora Kenya Wicks in the next coming days, and we're going to start doing some content as well, because we want to continue to educate. I did some content with Representative House Rep Derek Jackson, and it's like, okay, he talked about the responsibilities of a House Rep, the responsibilities of a governor. What is the importance of voting and why, and those things help people that you might have some 60-year-olds that not voting because they don't even remember civics or American government class. They don't feel like it's important. But once you kind of re-educate people why voting is important, why you voted for this city council person, or why this board of education person makes a difference, or this person here, or those offices that got appointed members, why all that is important, because of who you vote for and why you vote. And now we need to see it again. Not only are Black history being erased from schools and history, but they're being removed from libraries, being censored. Like Black organizations be getting sued from other organizations now because they're trying to use like this anti-reverse racism joint, like to say, well, now you owe us money because you said your company was all Black and you're discriminating against me because I'm a white person. Like it's really crazy out here. And again, I don't have anything against anybody, but I do love my people. And if I love my people, then I need to do whatever I can and use whatever resources I can for the betterment of us. We got to start taking care of our own in different ways. And I think the educational piece is important.
And I love that you said that. And sometimes people kind of get a little bent out of shape in terms of taking care of your own. But the idea of putting your oxygen mask on first is cross cultural. You have
Right.
to take care of self in order to be able to take care of other people. And so you take care of yourself, you take care of your community, and then as we improve as a community, that has a global impact. So the microeconomics of taking care of self
Right.
impacts positively the macroeconomics, the entire society. So I love that you are out there, that you are active, and if you all are not registered to vote, get registered. You want to make
Please
sure
do.
that
Right.
you are
We
registered.
have our little Phi Beta Sigma, Phi Beta Sigma civic engine. So our fraternity as a whole created a platform. So now you can go to that civic engine and you can find out information about voting. You can find out where to vote at, your polling place, are you registered? All those things you can find through that Phi Beta Sigma, civic engine. So that was really dope for the fraternity as a whole internationally create this organism that makes sure that people are aware.
And I love that people are aware because you don't know sometimes what you don't know, but you also talked about sometimes how people don't know the difference between, the alderman and the city councilman, and really what those roles are. And
Mm-hmm.
so it's really important to have that discourse, to have those conversations so that we understand what's going on. I know you said that civic engagement for Black communities, it really has to go beyond the rallying cries and into real education
Right.
about how power works. So you talked about Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated and that mechanism that's been put together for people to get information. But what does that education look like in practice? Like, how do you get people to show up?
Well, so that's always a challenge, and I think that for me right now, that the biggest gap is that 18 to 25 year range, right? So
Mm-hmm.
my my push would be for more multimedia, and then we just got to run up on them. So now it's like, so I asked like GGC and other colleges, hey, could we create little ad cards, and could we bust up on campus and pass them out? Could we come into the student center, just pass them out? It ain't, it's bipartisan, so nobody tripping about, whatever party. But can
Mm-hmm.
I come to your organization? Could I come to your campus and just pass out some information? Say, hey man, voting is important. You need to do it. And then that also helps people, kind of feel the need to, you start rejuvenating people and going, maybe I need to start doing some more research on my own, because if he stepped on
Mm-hmm.
campus and then now it's like, okay, bring your elected officials. Hey, I am Senator such and such, but you need to vote. If it ain't for me, you still need to do it. And that's the type of attitude that we need when it comes down to, voter rights, which turn into civil rights. And again, we live in a world like everything is right now, right? So if people don't get results right now, then they tend to lose interest because we're so desensitized. We see everything all the time in real time, 24/7 like that. So like, scary movies aren't scary anymore, and seeing somebody get shot isn't alarming anymore. Or my example, like I'm an avid basketball fan, but I'm also a fan of athletics.
Mm-hmm.
So I go to like basketball games, whether they're high school games, college games, or pro games, but more so pro games. Like the NBA has this like thing where they have the jam ball, where the people run and they jump off the trampoline and they dunk the basketball, right? Everybody's like, maybe even 5 years ago that was like amazing, but now people seeing it all the time, they're like, eh. And I'm like, you know how hard that is? Like that's gymnastics. Like that's very, very hard. So for people not to even look at it anymore because they're like, I already seen this before, because we have so much access to information. That's also a contributing factor of why people aren't voting, why people are alarmed. Because again, we can go back to uh, Rodney King. Rodney King
Mm-hmm.
gets beat. The black population as a whole boycotted and did everything they did for like 6 months. And then we fast forward to maybe Sandra Bland, and then people was alarmed for like 3 months. Then we fast forward to, somebody else, and then it was a month. And then we fast forward to somebody else, and now it's like a week. And then we fast forward to somebody else, now we only up in arms. We Twitter finger and we mad on Facebook and we ain't did nothing, but it's only 3 days now. So it's like we have to get back to, like, if we're gonna stand our ground, we need to stand our ground. If we need to, like, I give credit to they have all the kind of issues with the target fast or whatever like that, and whether you decided to partake or not, but that not getting on the bus for a year is totally different than I ain't gonna go to the store. But okay, you ain't gonna go to the store, but then you still went to another place that. So if you're gonna boycott something, you have it has to be some strategy to it.
Mm-hmm.
You're boycotting people that suppressed you, but then you didn't in turn use those dollars to infuse into the black community. So instead, you just went from, hey man, I don't like you to suppress me, but then you went to somebody else that was also suppressing you, and you spent those dollars over there. So you didn't really help your community at all. Me, I'm different. I spend a lot of money within black owned businesses. That's an
Mm-hmm.
initiative for Sigma as it is, but I really enjoy. I don't go to chain restaurants. Like, I'm not nothing against them. Well, I do have something against them because I'm a foodie, and since COVID, like, food just doesn't taste the same, and service isn't as good because there's a lot less workers. People are disgruntled. People don't want to work. You know what I'm saying? The minimum wage still what it is. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's working. Like, you might got one waitress for the whole joint, so services isn't as good as it used to be. So I tend to patronize black owned businesses because I'm a black owned business. So I know how important it is for somebody to book a photo shoot with me as opposed to go to Sears. I know the importance of going to a black owned caterer as opposed to going to some franchise spot that those dollars are going to leave the community immediately, as opposed to, you know, that dollar staying within our community. So it's a reason why I operate the way I operate. And it's not always easy, and every situation ain't the best. But I tell you what, though, McDonald's can mess up your order 100 times, and you keep going back to McDonald's. But let a black business mess up your order one time. Oh, black business. I know. Again, a lot of black businesses don't have the capital that McDonald's has, but you still show McDonald's more grace. McDonald's has more capital, more employees, more money, more insurance. So why are you showing them so much grace? They shouldn't be messing up your order. But this one black business over here that's, check the table, check the table, check the table, check the table. They doing everything they can. So if they hit a hiccup, they might not have the resources to bounce back as fast as somebody else. So give black businesses or minority business another shot. Like, don't just give them a one-hitter quitter, because typically that one time was just a bad time. So it's a lot of education that comes along with, with being where we are. But yeah, we gotta support one another.
I love that. And I love the idea of showing up and giving people another opportunity when they don't do things right the first time. So whatever organization it is that you're supporting, the large businesses, but in particular, small business owners really need that grace. And I think the same grace that we want people to extend to us as business owners, as small business owners, as medium or large business owners, that you should be willing to extend that grace to other people. But the other side of that, because I believe in duality, the other side of that is, as a business owner, make sure that you're putting forth your best effort and not kind of skating or slipping and sliding because, oh, I'm a black business owner, so you all should just give me a chance. Because I believe whatever store you are, if you want my money, you definitely are going to have to earn it. So I love how you mentioned that, the importance of showing grace to people. Make sure you all are dropping your comments and questions, because we're going to have a Q&A session, or section, I should say. So make sure that you're dropping your questions. I see you all over here on Instagram, so I will be grabbing your questions momentarily. But I want to mention, because you did mention earlier, and I don't want to miss this, you did mention earlier about men's mental health.
Right.
And you said that there's a level of specificity that most men avoid. What conversations do you think that black men are avoiding, or they're just not having? And the second part of my question is, what do you think that silence is costing them and their families?
So I think that what we learned, and I always say this on platforms, you only know what you know. So if, and I'll say this with all like openness, honesty, if great grandpa taught grandpa some trash, and then grandpa taught dad that same trash, and then dad taught you that trash, and then you taught your son that trash, it wasn't intentional trash. It's just all you knew. Suck it up, be a man, blah blah blah, all that stereotypical stuff. If that's all you learned, it's not really your fault, because that's all you were trained to do. So until we get men that are saying, no, I've never told my kids to suck it up. I don't want you to be a crybaby, but I don't want you to suck it up. I want you to be emotionally intelligent enough. One of those clickbait words. I want you to be strong enough and sure enough to say, Dad, girlfriend, mom, cuz I got a problem. I feel this, or I feel that. You need to understand yourself in order to be a better man. So that space, I don't think a lot of black men feel they have that space, because they didn't come in with the right mindset to begin with, right? So we had to change that initial mindset first. Suck it up. This therapy ain't good. Therapy is the end all be all, which is not. Like you have to do the work. But a lot of people, even with women, is like, we avoid therapy, we pray about it. Oh, we don't even do that. Everybody go get another degree. Everybody work out. Everybody pop some bottles, and then they wait a little bit, and then they go back into another relationship. Like that you didn't heal nothing. Time doesn't heal anything. Like time doesn't heal anything. So if you take the time to heal, whatever method that may be, professionally, I would recommend, because again, your psychologist or your therapist or your pastor or whoever is going to be like, I heard you, but this sounds like something when you was 8 years old or 12 years old. Like it almost always go back to your childhood. Something happened to your childhood that got you thinking the way you think, and you've carried that for so many years. Like I know what it was for me. Like I was like, I had really, really religious family, and my grandmothers both passed from cancer. So he's talking about evangelist and a missionary. So in my 15, 16-year-old mind, if them black women who were leaders in their community, my grandma had a community center, my other grandma had, Bible study and all these women's groups at our house every week. If those two people passed away from cancer horribly, it ain't no hope for me. Like, God, like, why God let them go through that? If they was perfect in my eyes and they went through cancer and just withered away, hey, little Antoinne ain't got no chance. Like, I might well just go ahead and pack it up. And I thought that way for years. Like, I thought that way from basically from 15 years old to my wedding day and to wedding counseling. And then my pastor at the time, Pastor Davenport, was like, he explained to me death in a way that made sense to me, that it's not, he said, you're driving a car and you're looking at the kind of car as opposed to the destination. And that just flicked in my soul. Like, I'm thinking like, okay, if grandma was loving the Lord and blah, 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 she should be driving a Maserati to heaven. It should be all easy and smooth and everything perfect. But it's not the car. It's the fact that it's just everybody's going to the same destination. They just get there differently. And that type of stuff, if I would have had that type of counseling or all that stuff when I was younger, then I might not have, my life would have been a little bit different. So we have to get men talking about these things. And the only way we can talk about this thing is to give them those sacred spaces to do it. Give opportunity. Jobs are also another thing. You know what I'm saying? If the world is on your shoulders and you at the bottom for making money, then what? Child support, the court system has come a long way. But I've been on both sides of the court. Like, I've only walked out of the courthouse one time in my entire life happy. Like, that was well after the fact, So we get to these opportunities like the court system, this and that, job market. But again, finding a community where men can access their emotions and be able to securely, get those to other people that care about them in a safe way, that goes a long way for mental health.
And I agree with you 1,000%. Mental health is so important. So I love having this conversation during Mental Health Awareness Month. And the idea that men's mental health is next month, but understand that this is 365, sometimes 366 days a year where we need to have these conversations. And I agree with you in terms of sometimes what happens in our childhood carries on into our adult life, and you usually can go back to that and that religious aspect of it, because my mother also very much was, she started off Muslim and then went into the church. But she passed away at the age of 39. And they told us, just hold hands and pray. So I'm the oldest of 6. We stand around and we're holding hands and we're praying. And my mother passed away anyway. I said, this is some bull, right? But then in addition to that, now, because I'm the oldest, everybody's like, oh my God, is she going to make it to 39? And so they're like cheering me on, like, go, go, go. And so there's this stress, like, oh my gosh, I have to survive, so that they can see that you can make it past 39. But I was worried. So when I turned 40, I was like, yes, right? It was like a weight lifted off of my shoulder. But my mother passed when I was 19. So the weight, and no counseling, no therapy. So the weight that I carried all of those years wondering and worried. So I'm glad that you have people that you can reach out to. But I encourage people to reach out and have those conversations with the professional and get the support that you need so that you don't have that stress for 5 years, 10 years, 15 years.
Right. Like we did.
Yes, like don't do that. And I love that because you were able to do that, that your children, my children, I have a 16-year-old son, that if he has those types of situations, I know now to do better. And you mentioned earlier about raising your daughter as a single father just through some of the hardest years of your life. So what did fatherhood teach you about yourself that photography or other jobs really would not be able to teach you?
And man, like you don't really know as much as you think you know. Like, we really hey, for all the people that aren't parents, like, and you want to be parents one day, know that parents don't know what they're doing. Like, I don't. You could train for it. You could try all you want to. Like, it's really just throwing stuff against the wall to see what would stick. And I learned that, like, I got my daughter And when I say single father, I have 3 children. And
Mm-hmm.
for a while when I got divorced, like it was full because I'm like I've been a single dad and a single father. Like there's a difference to me. So as a single dad, I've co-parented my sons, since my divorce.
Mm-hmm.
When I lived in North Carolina, still it was like 1 week on, 1 week off. So I literally was a single father, But then also in the same household, I was a single dad. Like I had full control, full rights, full everything, full responsibility every day for a girl that 12 years old till basically 2 months ago because she just got her first apartment. Like she'll be 24 next month, right? So there's a distinct difference between co-parenting and you the only person that person is responsible for every day for they formative years, right? And that was hard because again, I just got divorced, and then later I got my daughter, so I'm still, and I love teaching, so I went into divorce, full time entrepreneurship, and single fatherhood and single daddying, all basically at the same time, and
Wow.
I was still broken because I still hadn't got to no mental health help or no therapy or nothing like that. So I was really like this. I'm just flying with no wings. I'm just jump out the plane and just hope that the parachute open type joint. But I mean, we did all right. But again, it took me to what? I mean, 6 years ago before the first time I actually went and got some therapy, and that was life changing. Like, and again, I've been on platforms ever since because of the necessary point of guys need to take care of their self, their health, their mental health, and all that stuff. And there are people that will help you, but you got to look for those things. It's not as easy for men. Like you likely got 5 or 6 girlfriends that you could talk to. Like, hey girl, we're going through this. And dudes typically don't have that. I got 17 homies. Like my closest homies, even though I have frat, but my closest homies are in Ohio still. So we talk, and when we talk, it's like we never stop talking. But I can't just roll up on him like, yo, man, we need a beer, or we need to drink some pop, and we just need to talk about what happened today. Like, I don't have that. You see that Midwest came out, and I sold it for all the people that we're in the South right now, or other. We say pop in the Midwest, you know what I'm saying? But I give you soda since, just to make sure everybody knew what I was talking about right there. But, I can't just roll up sometimes and be like, yo, bro, like, we just sitting on the porch talking about, or the backyard on the grill talking about what's going on. And not being an entrepreneur, that does afford me less opportunity for that as well, because I'm kind of transient. Like I'm all over the place as an entrepreneur, because usually when most people aren't working, that's when I am. Right? People take pictures when they're off work, not when they are work. Or people take pictures on the weekend. So even through community service or other things where people do when they're off, those are when I'm working. So it's still even hard for me to find community because I'm always the opposite of what everybody else is. But I found, what I can that helped me the best, and we all got to do that.
Yeah, we all have to do that. And I love that you use beauty as a doorway to have relationships with, even while you're working. So if most people are doing their 9 to 5, and you're right. So if I was going to have a party or an event, it would be, in the evening, or it might be on the weekends. And so, of course, you need a photographer. That's where you come in. So you're working on the evenings and weekends when a lot of people are technically off work. But I love the idea that you use beauty as this doorway. And I've seen some of your work, absolutely phenomenal. So the images, the magazine, the fatherhood work, the civic education, all of this really comes back to, I think, Fred, showing people something that they didn't even know that they needed to see. So when did you realize that that was actually your gift?
Well, I think that's always been, like, we laugh about it, like that's the family blessing and curse, right? Our family as a whole are servant leaders, right? I've been doing this at 5. Like that same grandmother, my mom's mom, she had a community center. Like she opened up a community center. Her husband, my grandfather, he worked at a food bank. So although he worked at the food bank, he still brought food home. So we would bring food home. We as a family would be in the kitchen, in the dining room, bagging up food and all this stuff, and then taking that to the community. So I've always done that, and done it in high school. Then we did it in college organization. So it had to kind of continue as an adult, because that's just our our ministry out to family, and I love to do it. That's why Phi Beta Sigma means so much, because again, there's another organization now, but I have a collective group, so I'm not just my couple family members. Now I have a collective group of hundreds of thousands of brothers, internationally, that are on one accord. Whether we have differences in opinion, political views, or whatever like that, black, white, purple, black, it doesn't matter, because we all have people to come across and say, hey, we need to pull together to achieve these particular goals that are going to better our black community. So yeah, it's just in me, like to serve.
And I love that. Now, speaking of service, I want to take a few minutes to ask some questions from the audience. So I'm going to, pardon me for looking to the side. This question comes from Pretty Z Kitty on Instagram, so I'm not able to share it on the screen. But her question is, how did navigating single fatherhood reshape the way you approach your daily grind and the legacy that you want to leave for your children?
I think that, and that's soror too, right? So that
Yeah,
right.
it's got to be.
Here with me, so I appreciate you for tuning in. I think being a single parent is like, I laugh when people say that like they never quit. That was a lie from the Hades. Like I've quit 1,000,000 times. I've just also restarted 1,000,001 times. Like, but every time you think about that, like there is always this internal push that even if the world is tight, you have these responsibilities. Like the kids didn't ask to come in the world, you brought them in the world, you chose your partner and all that. So I don't particularly blame any partners for whatever, because I ultimately chose that person. So and the kids are in this world, so we have a responsibility to raise them. And again, I laugh about this because people try to, like, I get complimented for being a single father. Like, that's not a compliment. Like, a lot of people think, oh my God, you like, people try to be like, oh, it's Mother's Day, happy Mother's Day. And so I'm like, I've never been a mother. Like, I have man parts, so I can't be a mother. If you really, really feel that way, double me up on Father's Day. But at the end of the day, I haven't done anything special. Like, I'm a parent. I was supposed to be a parent when I became a parent. So I'm just doing what I'm supposed to do. So I don't wear it like a cape, because I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. But it gives me the opportunity to say, listen, these kids rely on you, and that's a heavy thing to bear on your shoulders. But that's a thing. So I'm going to try everything. I'm going to be mad. I'm going to cry. I'm going to be sad. I'm going to be happy. I'm going to lay in the bed sometimes, and I'm going to get up, and I'm going to try to do it all over again. And I'm going to ask for help. That's one thing that men don't do as much as women do. Like, I need help, and I'm going to be a little bit more vocal about that. But yeah, being a single parent, whether that's a father or mother, is something that is challenging, especially if the opposing parent is inactive or not a good fit for the parenting needs that you need to have to raise these kids. Because this world is different. Like, I feel bad for these kids because,
oh my goodness, yes,
it's a strange place. It is a strange place.
It's extremely different. I was telling my friend the other day that I remember back in the day, going out to the club used to be an event. Like, we would go get our hair done, we would get our nails done, we would look for an outfit, we would put on our high heel shoes. And I see people now, I'm like, you going to the club with that on? Like, y'all don't even dress up, don't brush your hair, don't brush your teeth. Like, what is going on? So it's definitely a different world. And so I appreciate you answering her question. So I'm copying and pasting Instagram. Keep dropping your questions. I'm copying and pasting their questions and putting them over here in the chat so I can share them on the screen. This is another soror. She said, hello, soror, and hello, frat on Instagram. Her question is, do you think parents, regardless of whether they're single or a two-parent household, should seek therapy with the children because there's a lot of mental health issues?
Absolutely. So I'll take it one step further, like, because I'm a former educator as well. But I'll take COVID into consideration. Mm-hmm. When COVID started, in my house by myself, I had a high schooler, a middle schooler, and an elementary school kid. Ooh. So it was crazy around Casa de la Jones because, we had behavioral issues with the middle one, which he come a long way. He's in college. He's on the drum lines. Like, all my kids are great. Like, the grades are good, all that stuff. But it was a real point because everybody's kid ain't a watch the screen kid. Like, remember we had those. You were a former educator. We had those what was that book that they gave us? It says that there's just so many different learning styles. You can handle them all, right? So there's like 50 different learning styles, and COVID just relegated you to one. Visual, like, so no teacher in the house, so they hiding homework and doing the homework, not turning it in, turning the screen off, under the table. My daughter was cool, like it was just crazy. But what I found out is that COVID really did a number on these kids. Like, my daughter was a senior in high school when COVID started, so she lost her senior year and her freshman year in college in the house. That totally demolished a lot of kids' self-esteem, they social skills, like the way they just interact with people. Now they totally 1,000,000,000% relying on electronics. Like that, all that really does shape people's minds and shape the way they address the world, shape the way they come. Now everybody got anxiety. That's the first thing they say now. I'm sad now. They self-diagnosis. My daughter, I got anxiety. You got anxiety for what? You don't pay no bills. Like, you live here. Like, you like what anxiety? I must got double what you got, because all you had to do was just go to work and come home. Like, so all this anxiety that you're talking about is like, it's different. It's different for us and them. And I'm not taking anything away from them, because again, the emotional distress that was put on them through COVID is major. So yeah, I think my daughter's in therapy. I've been in therapy. Like, therapy is a thing that is needed, because again, you start finding out why you react to things a certain way because of your past experiences. I forget what that's my guy too. I can't think of his name. He said we are the sum total of all our experiences. Right. So
that is
Wayne Dyer, that's what it is. Wayne Dyer. We're the sum total of all our experiences, right? So if your experiences where you were stuck in the house with your single dad for 2 years, like, you can't go outside, can't have no fun, can't go to prom, can't go to your first dance, can't stomp the yard, all that. How does that affect you mentally? I can talk about it, but I don't know how well I can help you. But if you go to someone that is educated and certified in those places, they might be able to get you, to a better place. Not good.
Absolutely. Love that. And then we have a question from Layla. She said mental health is top of mind. So how do you bring more awareness for men to seek support?
Like we said earlier, talk about it more. Be transparent and say, hey man, I struggled as a husband. I struggled with depression, but I got help. I'm an entrepreneur, so sometimes I'll be like, oh God, like I get, that it's hard. It's hard to be a full-time entrepreneur. It's like being a hunter. Like, you don't eat if you don't kill. And so that everybody not built for that. Like, and sometimes I don't feel like I'm built for it, but here I am. I'm still 21 years after the fact, and I haven't had a job. I haven't had a boss in 12 years. So I wouldn't even know what to do if I did go get a job. People like, every time I get into a struggle, people are like, man, maybe you need to go get a job. I say, man, I'll probably get fired in like 10 minutes. As soon as they said, it's 8:01, you didn't clock in at 8 o'clock, you about to get rolled up. I'm like, man, listen, you know what? Like, or I can't go on break when I want to. Blackout periods. I can't take a vacation when I want to go see my mama. That. So there's gives and takes to entrepreneurship, but it is a really, really, really hard thing to work for yourself, to create for yourself, to do that. And I bless people that are successful without challenges, but I don't know many entrepreneurs that don't have challenges, because anything can change. We go to war, that changes, right? So the beginning of the year was hard for me, because guess what? If you worried about your gas prices and paying your bills, how many pictures are you going to take? So AI is coming along. So now I have to re-educate people on AI. AI is a great thing. Now, all these AI flyers and these AI little people you're doing, it's a mess. But I have to re-educate people to let them know that, hey, you still need a photographer, even though AI, because the better picture you put into AI, the better result you get out. So now I have to re-educate. So that means I have to stay ahead of technology, because AI's gonna wipe out a whole lot of people in a whole lot of different places if we don't get on top of it and educate ourselves first. So yeah, mental health is definitely something that us men need to talk about openly, then go get help, and then we bring it back to the crew. Say, hey man, you need to go too. If you ain't been to therapy, just like I asked men, the same thing about their physical health. Have you been to the doctors this year?
Mm-hmm.
Have you been to the doctor in the last 365 days? Have you been to therapy? You going on dates and all that. Did you ask the person that you dating have they been to therapy? So,
Right.
shoot.
That part.
It's all kind of questions to ask when it comes to mental health, but you got to ask the questions. And once men are more and more open about it, I think the black women appreciate it, and I think the men themselves appreciate the openness about it. Because then women don't know how to react to us. We'll know how to react to each other. We got a better playing field.
Absolutely. And so I have loved this conversation. We are at the top of the hour. There are more questions in the comment section. So we're going to meet you guys on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram to make sure that we do respond to and answer all of your questions, because I think that's just extremely important that we do that. If you are interested, and I know you are, make sure that you connect with Mr. Antoinne Dwayne Jones on Facebook at adwayne.jones. Make sure that you reach out to him and connect with him, because this is really about building community. You can also connect with him on Instagram for, I don't know why I have stories on there, but it's Antoinne Dwayne Jones on Instagram. So make sure that you connect with him on Instagram as well, and continue to drop your questions and your comments in the section. We're going to continue to have these conversations with you all. We don't want this to be a one and done. We want to continue to talk with you all. I'm going to meet with Antoinne after the outro plays, and we really appreciate you all being here and watching this amazing, amazing episode. So before we go, I want you to have the final thoughts. What do you want people who watch this blue and white edition of Carrie Connects today to walk away really believing about themselves, believing about their community, believing about what they're capable of building for themselves and their family?
Well, I mean that it can be done. I've been preaching to myself today because I was a little in the mood today. But at the end of the day, when you have these conversations, you realize that I'm not so different than I have particular situations that are different, but a lot of people right now are going through. A good probably 70% of the nation is going through some challenge, whether it be financial, physical, emotional, spiritual. So I'm no different. It's just how are we going to handle this, and how we're going to do it alone. So as black men, I want you to know that I'm here, and if I'm here, that means there are other men that are willing to do the same. You can't like the more you hold this stuff, man, it affects your daily life. It affects the way you treat your kids, your wife, your girlfriend, your mom, your dad, how you treat yourself. So you can get sick just off of mental health, issues and challenges. So take care of your mental health. Also, if you are, of a certain mindset, Phi Beta Sigma, Zeta Phi Beta are some amazing organizations. I got to shout out to my brothers in blue and white and my sisters with Zeta Phi Beta. This is 27 years I've been a member of the organization, and I'm diving in deeper and deeper. All this denouncing and renouncing and this and that. I get all that. I enjoy those conversations because I've been there. But if you peel away the layers, if you look at your black community, the pillars of the black community are members of these organizations. Your councilmen, your reps, your senators, your Atlanta's mayor is one, the former mayor is one. All the politicians, all your favorite doctors, judges, and lawyers. If you ask them, a good percentage of them are in these organizations because they felt the need to pick up the mantle of the founders and walk through all the aspects of service, on one accord with others. So, I say choose Phi Beta Sigma, Zeta Phi Beta, but there's work to be done. I have a Greek magazine that focuses on all of them, so I'm not going to hate on none of them. I love all my Greek letter organizations. I just got a little bit more love for my blue and white ones. But I think that, you can tell we're in need, because every time elections run around, there are two places that are being attacked: the Black church and Black fraternities and sororities. Every time there's an election, every time we need to come together, this denouncing stuff starts coming out, and then people start arguing with the churches, and you start picking on Pastor Jamal Bryant for what his wife wear, and all these distractions come about. That's why we know we're in the right place, because every time it's time for us to come together, there's some external forces trying to rip us apart and have us arguing with each other about different things, because we are in a pivotal point in the world where we gonna be together, or we gonna be together in a whole different scary way, So again, I'm classes, whether it be firearms training, whether it be martial arts, self-defense, cybersecurity, all these things are needed right now for the Black community as well, because the attacks are not going to stop. So that's I'll set my cup down right now. And, you can sip on that tea later, but there's so much we could talk about. We could literally be here for hours and hours talking about, the Black community.
All right. And I love that. And I thank you so much for being a guest on Carrie Connects for this special blue and white edition. We're going to meet you all in the comment section, so continue to leave your comments. And if you hang on, I will meet with you backstage, and we're going to listen again to this, what you said was amazing outro. Right. Get ready to party. And we thank you all so much for joining us, and we will be here again next Saturday at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. 3 p.m. Eastern is the regular time for Carrie Connects. So make sure that you join us. And do you have any upcoming events? I don't want to miss that, Fred. Do you have any upcoming events where you want us to support you?
I mean, we have a whole bunch, but I think the Pearly Awards is my like Grammys for Greek. So December 13th, Atlanta, Georgia. Mark your calendars. Get with me if you want to be a sponsor or a vendor. Tickets are going to be $50, and there's going to be like a VIP upgrade. But if you want to really honor these people that are in the community, boots on the ground, come show up for a show that is, you'll like it. This will be year 4. So I need your support in every manner.
All right. Well, we got you. That's what this is about. Make sure you all show up, and we'll see you in the comment section. Thanks again for being here. Have a great evening.
Hey, welcome in. Let the good vibes all begin. Something good is about to happen. Sure. I've been waiting on you. Got a seat with your name. Started with a coffee chat. Now we about to change the game. You got a story worth telling, and I got a room full of ears. So drop whatever you've been holding. Get ready, because your time is here. Because when real people talk to real people, something shifts. When real stories meet real listeners, something lifts. Every Saturday we show up and we bring our best. Show up to Carrie Connects and leave it best. Show up, show up. Something is happening here. Carrie Connects, Carrie Connects. This is your moment, come near. Where every story intersects and every heart connects. From a coffee chat to the main stage, just bring who you are. Carrie Connects, Carrie Connects. Connection is the style. Carrie Connects. Entrepreneurs, voices, friends, where inspiration never ends. You did not come this far just to sit in the back. Everything you walk through was getting you ready for that. So step into the light. Let somebody see your face, because the right conversation can change everything in this place. When real people talk to real people, something shifts. And real stories meet real listeners, something